Now, let's get some analysis and bring in the UJ Law Clinic. In fact, analysis by the head of the UJ Law Clinic, Elton Hart, who joins us now via Zoom. Elton, always great to chat to you. Thanks for making time for us. How crucial was this revelation that accused number 2 actually wanted to enter into a plea bargain with the state and then testify against his co-accused?
If one looks at plea bargaining, one needs to look at also now there is this rule that we need to be cautious when accomplices is trying to implicate each other in the commission of a crime. So then the court needs to be very careful on how they deal with it. And specifically when you look at confessions, when one accused says he's going to confess to a crime implicating the other accused, then also the court needs to somehow put caution in the wind to say, listen, yeah, I need to treat this with caution where this co-accused. So there is this thing, but the mere fact that there is allegations that a 105 Big A plea bargaining process was underway already, it first they need to venture into, at the time when this procedures was underway, was the accused firstly informed of his constitutional rights? Was it completely explained? Did he comprehend the processes at that point in time? And also, was he legally represented? And I now know that they say there was a Dominic Njiako that was actually sort of half representing the accused persons, but that should be one of the things that also needs to be placed before this court, wherein they need to bring evidence to that effect to say, listen here, this attorney is in fact an attorney allowed to practice law that represented the accused person at that 105 plea bargaining proceeding. Because I could see from previous engagements that they was trying to say that this guy did not represent the accused, I think it's accused number 2. They did not represent him. He's not a lawyer and those type of things. So the state needs to bring that lawyer to come and testify and show that he had a fidelity fund certificate. And all these things then work in. If the state can prove that, they've got something good to go to show that these confessions can be allowed to stand and that it was legitimately made. If it's like this loose hanging things, and obviously the defense still has time to actually come and also bring their case, because when the state closes their case in the trial, within the trial, the defense can also now adduce evidence that might refute or rebut what the state has put on the table at this point in time.
Yeah, and it seems like we have more information around how the accused were linked to this matter, which is important, right? Because for the longest time we've been wondering how all of them played a part in, of course, what the state is trying to prove, that they were all involved.
Yes, but now, Clement, we need to also look at what happened in the first trial, if one can put it that way, and now the second one, where Judge Maumela was the presiding officer and now Judge Arata Mokotleng is the second presiding officer. There was evidence tendered there or put on the table by the state, and you can see the two narratives in these two cases is totally different from what the state is trying to now put in front of people. And obviously there was also the issue that we still need to delve into it with the tampering of the crime scene. There's witnesses that saw 2 men running out, and then there's certain people that now suddenly we hear also that there was people waiting in a car and all those things. And I know Zungu testified that one of the accused actually used his car. They need to just bring the AVL logs of that car, because it's a state vehicle, to show that from the hostel in Vosloorus to the Komalo residence in Vosloorus, that car traveled on that day in that time slot. Because I think the defense needs to also canvass that issue with them to say, let's get the AVL logs of that specific vehicle also. Then it will prove, okay, the state's version is true. Then Zungu said they took his car without his permission, and when he asked them, he just said, sorry, Ntwana, something like that, and he used the car for a short while to prove that they used that car to go that direction. Then you could place them in that scene. Obviously, if there's a lot of doubt, then it should sway in the favor of the accused person, because they say beyond reasonable doubt. And if there's doubt, the court needs to err on the side of caution to say, listen, yeah. But there is we're hearing some version that's coming out now from the lead investigator, but this is just the trial within the trial. And I think they might get into parts of the merits, but I would think they would just stick to how the confessions was obtained. And also some of the state witnesses also contradicted them each other in their statements to say they never made stops when they took them for confessions, but the AVL logs also showed there were stops. So it's very muddy currently with the waters there. But we're starting to see something take shape with the state's narrative that they want to put before court. And I'm not saying it's a bad narrative, but also the defense need to canvass certain things to try and poke holes into it.
And what kind of defense are you expecting following what the state has presented? What are you expecting the defense to mount as their defense?
Obviously, they need to just look at to say that the torture happened, and they need to prove and work with the AVL logs to say at this stage, obviously the accused person is one person that was taken on a specific time to, and these state officials was a couple of them that can corroborate each other. It's only one of the accused at each given incident that happened with accused 1 and 2 that says they were tortured at certain intervals and time periods. So they need to get now into that to say, listen, yeah, I need to put you in the box, but you need to just stick to that day of the confessions to say that I've never, because if the accused, if they don't put what evidence before court to say that this accused was properly represented by a lawyer and put that lawyer in the stand to say, I have a mandate from this accused person. If that accused person come and say, but I never had a lawyer, and then it becomes unchallenged, then they can't really say he was legally represented. Then it means that the confession was taken from him. Maybe they've explained his rights to him, but he was unrepresented. And at that stage, then you need to, put caution in the wind to say, listen, yeah, we're going to play safe and say he did not comprehend what was happening to him. And then that evidence would not be admissible. So if I'm the state at this point in time, I would get this Dominic Njayako guy to actually close that angle, because if the defense teams is going to now put the witnesses in the box, the accused, and they say, but I never gave somebody an instruction, I saw this person there. They can just say, I put it to you, you gave, and then that's it. But it becomes unchallenged because there's not evidence that can refute what the accused person is saying.
Okay, so today was obviously the resumption since last year. Do you think this is the year that we are finally going to hear possibly from Kelly Khumalo as a witness?
I don't know why the state don't want to call Kelly Khumalo, because Kelly Khumalo was at the center of everything here. And she was supposed to be one of the people that were called first, because her phone was taken by the alleged intruders. Her phone was taken. And why do you postpone? And I mean, they had to call so many witnesses and they don't want to call her. I would have been calling, because she was the one that was the closest to them, saw them, because they took and they even chased after, because one of the perpetrators or alleged intruders actually chased after her into the room. So she would have had clear sight, but why don't you want to call her? But this year should see her come to the stand. If they don't call her, then I believe that there is something more than what meets the eye in this investigation, in this case.
Elton Hart, thanks for making time for us. He's the head of the UJ Law Clinic.